this next video, what we'll do is we'll walk through the configuration options you have on BackupBuddy and then walk through an actual backup or two just to show you how it works. In order to get to the BackupBuddy options, you have to make sure that you're logged into the administration section in your dashboard. Once you're there, on the left hand side you'll see a list that is collapsible, or where the sections are collapsible, that you use to get to your plugins. We're going to go down to the bottom left where you should see a separate area called BackupBuddy. Expand this and it will give you the options that you have. Remember that if you get stuck, you can always come back to the getting started section of this and it will give you some hints. One of the things that's especially helpful is that it does tell you where your backups are located in this line. I've grayed mine out because I don't want to share that with the world, but you can access this from your getting started section. Go to the settings menu, and what you'll see here are all the configuration settings for BackupBuddy. You've got 3 different ways which you can essentially back up using BackupBuddy. You can back it up and it will send you the data via email. You can FTP the data to a site. This is particularly good if you're going to migrate a site from one location to the other. You can put it up on Amazon S3, which is where I put the majority of my backups. Here you'll enter your notification email address. And what this will do is it will send notifications to you. If you manually back it up, you can select this and it will send you the notification that you actually did a manual backup, or it will send you an email message once you've completed scheduled backups. You can have multiple schedules here so that you can back up different portions of this as you desire. Now that we've got this notification portion set up, let's scroll down here to the bottom and look at some of these other options, because we've got it configured now where if we wanted to, we could schedule a backup that would just mail the data to us. This will tell you the number of backups you should keep. It's important to keep this in mind because some hosts will cut you off if you have too much space or if you move too much data around. You'll want to enable zip compression more than likely, because this will allow you to have smaller files. If you run into issues where it's actually not going or not backing up well, you can do the forced compatibility mode and it will slow it down and give you a greater chance of success. I like this option here. I always have it checked where you perform an integrity check on the backup files. If you have questions about any of these options, what you can do is hover over the question mark and it will give you an explanation of what this means. And down here at the bottom is probably one of the slickest features that we've got, or that BackupBuddy has. You can come down here where it says exclude directories and actually pick out the directories you don't want to back up. This is a scratch directory I use for certain activities on Fiverr. If I click this button, it will move it over here and I won't have that included in my backup, which is nice because that will make the backups even smaller. Make sure that you save the settings, and what will happen then is you'll be ready to go with your first backup. So to make your first backup, what you need to do is to come back up to the backup section, and it will allow you to do a full backup or a database only backup. I don't want you to see how quick this actually is once you get this started. You've got this nice little menu here that tells you what steps it's going through. Once your backup is complete, you'll see the indicator here go to a green check mark and you'll know that it's completed. Here you get a log of what's occurring as your database and your files are being backed up. And then down here at the bottom is where you actually see what your backup looks like and how big it is. You can see that this did about a 200 megabyte backup in less than 30 seconds probably. Here's some other options that you can use once you've completed your backup. You can directly send this file by FTP, you can send it to S3, or you can send it by email to whatever address you'd like. I'm not going to send this by email since it is such a large file, and instead what I'll do is I'll go back and send my database only to my email address. Go back to the backup section of the menu, and all I want to do is do a database only backup. You click on this, and it's done in less than 3 seconds. It's completed all its backups and its work. Now I'm going to take this smaller database, which you can see is only 1/4 of a megabyte, and email that file to myself. And now you're back to the main backups window. So now we've walked through and set up our actual backup options and tested it so we know that it's working. We verified that it'll work by using an email submission of the database to ourselves. And now what we're going to do is go automate the routines. And you'll see your options laid out for you. I don't have any current backup schedule, but that's what we'll do now. Name your backup schedule. I've named mine Test 1, but you can name it anything you would like. You can call it weekly or daily or monthly. You determine which database type of backup you want to run, whether you want to do a complete backup with files in the database or just the database only. Again, this is the smaller one. You can choose the interval here. Down at the bottom, you can choose where your backup files will be sent. Either FTPing it to another website if you're going to migrate a site. You can send it to Amazon S3 if you're simply going to store it. Or if you think you've got a small enough file, you can email this. You want to make sure that you delete the local backup after you send the file, because that will save space on your web server and you won't get in trouble again with your ISP. Click on Add Schedule, and there it is. It's set up, ready to run during the time periods that you state. You can come up here and delete it, but you can't redo the settings on the schedule for your backup. But it still is one way to automate your backups and to save time that you would prefer to be doing other things with. In the next video, what we'll do is we'll look at how to migrate a site from one location to another, handy if you're a developer, or how to restore a website if you get hacked and you want to go through and put it back to an earlier date.